What's going on, you guys, and welcome back to the channel. My friends and family have always told me that my voice sounds different when I'm on the phone, and the main reason for that is because I used to work at a call center. So we were a third-party company. We would get hired from companies like T-Mobile, American Express, Liberty Mutual. Our job was to call their customers and ask them to take a survey with us. An example of our script would be something along the lines of, "Good afternoon, this is Carlos calling on behalf of T-Mobile. We'd like to ask you a few questions about your recent trip to the store. Might I please speak to John Smith?" And then if it's John Smith, we'll be, "Hi, John Smith. We would like to take a short 5 to 10 minute survey about your recent visit to a T-Mobile store. Would now be a great time." And they usually hang up right there. We'll train for every survey, whether it be with T-Mobile or Verizon or any of the other companies we work with. We'll learn the script. We gotta learn it verbatim. I'm like, it'll be in front of us in the screen. So our area was pretty simple. It was a cubicle, a computer, would have a telephone with a headset. You could either use the phone or the headset. It was up to you. And it was pretty interesting because we would use a speed dialer system. So all we'll hear on our headset or phone is a beep. As soon as that beep goes off, you just start reading your script right ahead. Because at that beep, that meant somebody answered another line. Sometimes it was just the voicemail and we had no idea. So you'd just be talking and all of a sudden, no response. As soon as that beep would go off on the computer, the server would pop up with the person's information, name, phone number, and you were good to go. You just started reading it, which that's said at some point you end up memorizing the script, so you could just say it without looking. Most of the surveys were only about 10 questions long. There were actually some surveys that was only 1 question long, but it was real difficult to get the customer to answer that 1 question. We had something called a CPH, which was the completions per hour that we had to meet. I'll talk more about that later. All the questions were about how satisfied you were with the business, whether it be their ability to help you, the cleanliness of the location, the employee themselves. But everything was always about a 1 through 10 scale, where 1 was very dissatisfied and 10 very satisfied. And it was tough because we were only allowed to take a 1 through 10 number. So if they would say 0, we would have to clarify based on a 1 to 10 scale, how would you rate that, where 1 is very dissatisfied and 1 is very satisfied. It was super repetitive because it was that over and over and over again. And they would get mad at that because they would just be like, "Oh, I just want to tell you." And we would have to try to diffuse the situation and tell them that we would need an answer using the 1 to 10 scale. So we would always go back to that point. It was so tough sometimes to try to deal with the customers and get them to just give us a number. And because we were a call center, people would be pissed all the time because we were always calling at a bad time, whether it be dinner, whether it be a game going on. There was always some reason that they were mad at us for calling. The worst calls we would get is when they're already pissed at the company for something and then they think we actually work for that company and that we can do something about it, and they're just yelling our ears off, and we have to remind them we're calling on behalf of this company. So getting cussed out was a very common occurrence. People were just that mad. I remember part of the group that I got hired in with, the last day of our training, we went out to the floor, did our phone calls. One of the girls there started crying because she got cussed out over the phone and ended up leaving and never saw her again. So I guess she quit. It's tough, like being yelled at and cussed at all day long. So about the CPH, the completions per hour, that was a criteria that we had to kind of meet. For example, the T-Mobile survey, we would have to complete 4 surveys an hour. Sometimes that was possible. Sometimes you were short. Sometimes you went over. It just really depended on your luck that day and the people that you got. But then each survey was different. Like I mentioned earlier, that there was one survey that it was 1 question and you only had to get 1 complete per hour because it was that difficult to get. I never worked on that one, and I'm kind of glad I did because I feel like that would have been super stressful. But the way they would do it is they'll take your week worth of work, see how much you completed and how many hours you worked, and if you don't meet that, they'll talk to you. You don't meet it again. Of course, you'll get like a warning, and then they'll kind of retrain you. They kept trying to push you because the turnover rate there was huge. Every week, you had 2 or 3 batches of maybe like 15, 20 people coming in every week. It was a very tough job to keep your sanity if you can't handle being yelled at all the time. I think what people got fired for the most is falling asleep. With being cussed at and it being that boring, why do people put up with it? It paid over minimum wage. There were at least like 45 cents over minimum at that time. And you get paid more if you spoke another language fluently. And the rarer the language is, the more it paid. If you spoke something like Spanish, they would only pay you maybe 30 more cents an hour. I remember there was a girl there that spoke Japanese fluently, and she was getting paid about $25 an hour for the same job that people were getting paid probably half of that. But because she was the one who spoke and wrote it, they paid her that price. But the biggest benefit of them all, you were able to make your own schedule. You got a piece of paper, you make your 2-week schedule, you picked your days off, you picked what time you came in, what time you're off. It was great for high school students, college students, and pretty much anybody. I'm like, a job where you can make your own schedule. This is like Uber before Uber was a thing. And their only requirement was you had to work at least 20 hours in that week, and 8 of those hours have to be a weekend. So that was kind of downfall. But because you made your own schedule, you couldn't be late, and you couldn't call out. If you called out, you needed a doctor's note right ahead. And that's it. The being late part, they really had no tolerance for it because you made your schedule. You committed that you could be there at that time. And same with like going home early. They weren't letting people go home early because you said you could stay that late. That pretty much covers the base of what it was like working at a call center. Have you guys ever worked at a call center or anything close to this? Let me know. Let me know what else you guys want to see. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button, that like button, and leave a comment. Let me know what else you guys want to see. And we'll keep these videos coming. Peace.